Hey guys, you're listening to the PetaPixel Podcast, where we talk about all the latest news in the photographic industry and more. But if you're looking for expert advice, incredible selection, and the best deals on photographic equipment, video, lighting, and more, you go to B&H. B&H is PetaPixel's new gear partner. And for even greater savings at B&H, we recommend the B&H Payboo credit card, which lets you save the tax. You pay the tax, and B&H pays you back instantly. Or you can pay over time with our 6 and 12-month financing on minimum purchases of $199 for 6 months or $599 for 12 months. Terms apply. Learn more at bhphoto.com/payboo. Credit card offers are always subject to credit approval. Payboo credit card accounts are issued by Comenity Capital Bank.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the PetaPixel Podcast. I'm Jaron Schneider, and I'm joined by my friends Chris Nichols and Jordan Drake, who are...
in front of a green screen.
No, we're not. We're at the lake. Jordan and I are having a romantic getaway with our families. They always end up coming too. And we're at the lake. So for anybody who's listening at home, you're going to hear like seagulls. You're going to hear some people splashing, boats starting up.
Children laughing, children screaming.
Sea-doos and stuff. It's not Foley. We're actually at Lake Shuswap. And for anybody that's watching on camera, yeah, we know the background's a little blown out. We're under a canopy.
I didn't bring a reflector, I'm sorry.
No, but I mean, look, but there's boats behind us. That's real. That's not computer generated. We do not use AI on this channel. And we've got a microphone in between us. Yeah, it's been very smoky. We are surrounded by wildfires.
Yep.
And
if we have to run halfway through, evacuation notice comes through.
And if you hear any like this, that means that we accidentally kicked the box that the microphone's on, or some other shenanigan that's going to cause.
Yeah, be nice to their sound. This actually sounds so much better than the last time they podcasted from the beach. So, like, this is a huge improvement in my opinion.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead. Everybody's on the same team.
Let's silver lining this thing.
We got this. All right.
And what's this podcast about, Jaron? Because this is a fun topic this week. It's not just
Why
about
are you
beach.
interrupting our vacation?
So a lot happened while we were out in the last 2 weeks. But luckily, most of it was backloaded onto the last few days. So really, it's as if we didn't miss much. There's quite a bit we need to talk about as far as news goes. We're going to discuss Nikon losing its patent lawsuits against Viltrox.
Damn.
And Sony making an official offer to buy Tamron, among other things.
Wild news.
The main story this week is Jordan actually came up with this. He's very good at these topics. We're going to talk about the greatest accomplishment and deepest shame, these are his words, of every camera maker in their whole history. And so that is the plan. I'm looking forward to it. Chris and Jordan are going to bring me their greatest accomplishments and deepest shames for each, and then I guess the tiebreaker if they don't agree.
Yeah, Jaron's going to pick who it is.
Right,
and
right.
Guaranteed there's going to be some overlap on our
Oh,
lists.
I'm sure there will be. Yes. We're going to try to stick to, like, their camera dealings, like
cameras more than like lenses and software and stuff.
And like OM system, I feel like we're sticking with OM system because they're not Olympus.
I did Olympus.
Jordan, that's already breaking the rules. I mean, Olympus's greatest accomplishment is making the best colonoscopy butt cameras ever known to man.
Right, but that's outside the scope of
Think of how many lives they've saved. But, okay. Besides that, well, let's just see what's going to happen. Do you have a question for us?
I do have a question for you this week. In line with the theme of this episode, I just want to know, what is your greatest shame? What's the most shameful thing you've ever done? No, actually, I'm not going to do that to you. It's what's your favorite flavor of yogurt, guys?
Oh, wow.
What? Vanilla.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, look, man. Hey, guess what? Vanilla is a goated flavor.
It is.
And the fact that it is considered like bland and like uninteresting, based if someone says, "Oh, that's so vanilla," is a travesty of justice to vanilla.
Right.
Yeah.
I do like vanilla a lot. I mean, if anybody says plain, that's wrong. That's gross. Okay, that's
right.
I'm going to go, for me, yogurt and ice cream are the exact same. I love vanilla yogurt, ice cream. I love it. I think vanilla ice cream is totally underappreciated. But
Agreed.
I crave strawberry ice cream every once in a while.
It's also very good.
And
you know
a lot
what's
of people
funny
like,
about it? It doesn't taste like strawberries.
No,
it tastes like strawberry ice cream.
Yes,
it's great.
A very different flavor.
And so I'm kind of on team strawberry yogurt right now. And I like the pink color, and it's just like fun in your cereal. I don't know. I'm going with strawberry yogurt.
So, see, my issue is the blueberry is a fickle fruit. It's a good blueberry is a wonderful thing, but it is one of the fruits with a very low success rate.
Yeah.
Where if you get some blueberry yogurt, that's not going to be like, you're not going to bite into it and be like, oh, that's too soft. I didn't enjoy that. No, it's going to be the consistency of yogurt.
Yeah.
So if you want to consume blueberries with no risk, then I think blueberry yogurt is a great way to do it.
I don't mind
I like
it.
how you pointed out that it's usually the texture, Jordan, when it's like, ooh, that is...
Oh, a squishy blueberry is I don't care how it tastes.
Yeah,
it
it's
just...
gross. I would argue, though, that if you took vanilla ice cream, but then you put fresh blueberries into it, that's even better. You can't beat that.
I actually agree with that. I've been known to do that here at my
if you
house.
can whip it really effectively.
Now, this is, I know, see, your question is good because now we're really going off on a tangent. We're wasting time on this otherwise very long podcast. So this is going to be a hot take, and it's going to be a nostalgic trip for maybe Canadians. But in Canada, we had a fruit on the bottom yogurt that we all enjoyed as kids. Lucerne was the brand.
Oh, wasps.
They made fruit on, there's going to be wasps. They made fruit on the bottom yogurt, and they had some really good flavors. You have to stir it up at the start. And they made an apple cinnamon, and I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. But only Canadians will understand that take.
Let's start the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good idea. This episode of the PetaPixel Podcast is brought to you by PetaPixel memberships. And guess what, guys?
They're impossible. You couldn't have done it again, Jared.
20%
There's no way
off.
there's a new perk.
New
20%.
perk.
20% off all banana-flavored yogurt, because nobody likes banana-flavored yogurt. It's not very good. But if you guys like it, 20% off. Just put in PetaPixel banana. You will... No? I got it wrong.
You know what's even worse than that is the Laffy Taffy banana. Oh, God, it's terrible. I hate Laffy Taffy banana. At any rate, there is a new perk. It is 20% off. This time it's Capture One.
Holy
20% off
hell.
Capture
The
One.
professional
Holy crap.
editing software that I use to edit images, Jared?
Yes.
Wow.
It's 20% off for new members and for their first year, but that is still not nothing. It comes out to be about the cost of a year's worth of a PetaPixel membership. But the thing is, you don't just stop there. The membership, the bonuses, the deals of what you get for being a member, they continue to compound. It now
Impossible.
is easily a bad idea to not be a member if you ever plan to purchase anything as a photographer. So let me give you all of the
Look at all those
perks
birds.
right now. Yeah, there's lots of birds in the background. First, you support what we do. Great.
Yes.
That makes you now feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. It gets better. Remove all banner ads from petapixel.com. Now the website is clean and easy to read and full of wonderful information every single day.
Are my
Great.
favorite writers on that website?
I don't know
Like
who are
Jeremy
your favorite
Gray,
writers.
Matt Grokut, Jaron Schneider? Are those guys on that website?
Oh, just
I don't know
those
about-
three?
I don't know about
Man.
that Jaron guy. Chris Nichols often writes things on there. There's a dude named
Ooh.
Jordan Drake whose articles have been quite common recently because there's so many video products
all
on
video.
the market suddenly.
Man, I wish I could peruse those without the annoying ads in between the paragraphs. You know what I mean?
You can. with a
I just
PetaPixel
want to
membership.
see Chris Nichols' stunning photography, and I'm often distracted by some sort of ads. So if that were to go away, that would like make my dreams come true. But I also might want to buy like some used camera gear at KAH.com.
5% off.
Wouldn't it be great to get 5% off?
Man.
Oh man,
That easily
So many
covers
discounts.
what like shipping and
Yeah.
a huge chunk of tax, depending on what state you. I live in Portland, Oregon, so I don't pay. sales
our
tax,
our
so.
good partners are basically paying you to have a PetaPixel membership and peruse the website ad free.
You get 10% off any Viltrox products sold through the company's official Amazon storefront.
That's wild.
For ad infinitum. Just
That's
keep
great.
buying.
Including one lens that Chris said was one of the greatest lenses of all time and picked in the recent lens
Yeah.
draft.
Yep.
And then you
Yep.
might be like, okay, but those are discounts. What about cold hard cash? Doesn't the Moment Store give you like half your yearly membership, $15 back towards anything you might buy at the Moment Store?
That is correct. But wait,
That-
there's more.
Wow.
10%
What about
off
lighting?
lighting gear. Yep, 10% off lighting gear from Westcott.
Westcott lighting gear?
Yep.
Man, I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, it's such a great package.
And if you guys enjoyed my latest video, the panoramic camera video where I talk about shooting panoramic film, you're going to want to maybe try that yourself. But,
Wait a minute,
developing
Jaron.
film and scanning film can get kind of expensive.
It's so expensive. It's prohibitive. How could I possibly afford to develop 4 shots on one roll of film? Because that's all panoramic cameras give you.
You get 10% off Photo Lab services at Blue Moon Camera and Machine here in Portland, Oregon. You don't have to be in Portland to get that, by the way. You can send in your film in the mail, and they will send it back to you in the mail. They
have my film right now.
They
and
do.
I'm in a different country.
That's right. They're developing your film as we speak. Well, probably not, actually. It's probably in line to be developed, but you get the idea. But that's not all.
Damn.
You also get 33% off an annual subscription to Atmos for Weather and Photo app, which helps you plan your photo excursions. That is a total, in addition to accessing our sample galleries that are photographed by our lovely team, that is a total of 10 outstanding perks for being a PetaPixel member. Seriously, $3 a month or $30 a year is all it takes. We really appreciate those who support the channel.
Wow.
And here's the thing. I do want to take this time to actually point out some new things we've added to the website. If you've been to the website recently, you may have seen that we have some new features. One of them is called The Reel, and each thing that we put on there is a snap. You will see it on desktop on the right-hand side of the main feed column. There is where we'll share smaller stories and bits of information. Yeah, there's a jet ski.
People living their best life in the background. This is going to be a constant thing throughout. I'm sorry, Jaron, but there will be birds, and then there'll be like someone jet skiing, and then someone's going to take their boat out for a pleasure cruise, and kids might be playing on the dock here. I don't know. Fish are probably jumping in the background.
Where were you, Jaron?
I was saying that this new section of the website lets us share bits of information that we wouldn't normally be able to have time for before as a main story, but now we can do quick hits there. One of them is our feel-good story of the week. We'll loop back to that later.
Man, that guy just did a wheelie.
Man, maybe I do have ADHD.
I think you do. The other thing that we've done is if you go take a look at our reviews, we'll take a look at Jeremy and Jordan's review of the Sony 100 to 400 f5 6 to 8, which came out today. You'll notice at the top we now have a better kind of summary of our findings that are located at the top. So we have a pros and cons list as well as a quote that tells you quickly what you to expect. We are going to be making some more changes to the way that reviews go here soon. We're still working on that, but stay tuned for it. And then also, occasionally, we will have what are known as special features. The most recent one was the story we did with KEH. Those stories have a higher image focus. They are centered and looked slightly differently, and they just have an overall stronger, special vibe. So we're really trying to make the website read better, give you more experiences there that make the reading the stuff that we write more exciting. So, and full of information. And it's thanks to members that we're able to afford to make these changes and make the viewing experience better. So thank you very much to our members. With that, I will stop talking about how grateful I am for PetaPixel members and what PetaPixel memberships do for us, and we'll instead move into talking about
If
Nikon.
we add more perks, it's going to take half the podcast just to talk about the memberships here pretty soon. I mean,
I'm still working on more for what it's worth.
oh
actually.
man, you're a machine.
I'm working on a print partner right now, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that'll be soon. All right. In addition
Nikon.
to Blue Moon Camera, by the way, you can print a Blue Moon Camera if you want. That's 10% off already.
Yeah, they're great.
All right. Nikon lost its patent lawsuit against Viltrox, guys. This was a case that Nikon actually brought in China against Viltrox and stated that they were, I believe, looking for restitution for Viltrox effectively using their mount as well as their pin design for connecting with the camera.
There is a train, folks. Sorry, there is a train. Trains will come by the podcast maybe 1 or 2 times.
You know what you could do is just let it go, Chris. You don't need to reference literally everything that happens on and off screen.
Okay, I just,
The ADHD thing.
Sorry, this is one of the biggest news stories of the year.
Yeah,
on
there's a train.
Jared.
It's just if you can't see the train, you're like, what the hell's going on? What is that? It's
Chris
a train.
clearly thinks the train is more important.
All right,
than
I'm
the
sorry.
story.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Thank you,
but
Jordan,
anyways,
for pointing out how absurd that was.
I mean,
we might be like,
I love trains too.
I'm like, do they have trains?
They're
in,
really
like,
cool.
underwater trains in
But
BC?
I
Is
would
there-
say, like, major lawsuits about closed mounts are really, really exciting and important news to talk about.
All right. Well, this sets
Thank
a
you,
big
Jordan.
precedent, doesn't it, Jaron? Because, like...
Here's the thing. They determined that Nikon's, what they said the patent was essentially a camera mount and I think it's a 6-pin connector that allows it to communicate with the lens is not effectively patentable. That it is not a unique concept. And so Nikon lost. Jordan?
I mean,
any thoughts on this?
This is a huge deal because so much of the issues that we're dealing with these new mirrorless mounts all comes down to everyone saying, well, this is our proprietary, patented lens mount. We are in charge of what gets put on it. If that's suddenly invalidated, I mean, even if it's just China, that opens up a huge group of options, not just for Nikon, but for Canon as well. L-mount even at this point. There's a lot of people not producing L-mount glass. So suddenly there's precedent for people to say, like, your mount ain't so special. Much like what we saw with the... who was it that reverse engineered the RF? I think that was Seven Artisans.
Yongnuo,
yes. And just slightly changed it so that the lock on the lens mount didn't work the same as it normally does. But all the contacts were there. A bunch of people could say, yeah, okay, there's precedent on that. Let's just, bring them out and then go to court in China where we know that this patent's invalidated already. So it could really open things up.
Are the mounts themselves still patented? Like, if somebody makes a dumb adapter, do they still have to pay a licensing fee? These are questions I want to know.
A dumb adapter, as in like not autofocus?
Yeah. Like you make like a...
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Like a lens adapter,
Canon. Let's use Canon as the example. They haven't been going after anyone who has done some sort of adapter to RF that doesn't include
electronic
autofocus
capability, right?
And electronic connection. So they're saying that's where they're just not pursuing it.
Does Viltrox still have to pay licensing fees to Nikon to use the Nikon Z mount?
They haven't, and that was what this was about. And no, they lost the lawsuit. So no.
Because that's a crazy precedent, because now everybody is going to make reverse engineered lenses for all the mounts.
Which was what everyone did during the DSLR era.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Good for the consumer, maybe not good for the manufacturers, but good for the consumer, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, so the Chinese brands will certainly have this. I think the big question is, like, what about the bigger, like, more established, especially the Japanese, because there is, like, a little bit more of an actual relationship there. Are we suddenly going to see Sigma doing full-frame lenses on Z-mount because of this, or RF mount lenses? I really doubt it.
Yeah, here's what I bet will happen. Let's say that this does expand beyond just Nikon. Let's say that suddenly all these brands in China are releasing lenses for any mount, and whether or not they actually...
Canon would be the obvious one. Canon would be the big...
would probably be the next target.
That's the white whale.
I think what would happen is that would start conversations between brands like Tamron and Sigma and Canon, and essentially be like, don't you want to support a Japanese brand? You've already lost this. So we're not going to like take you to court over this, but we are going to say, like, I think it's time you let us do it officially so that we can compete with the brands in China, because clearly that's not going to stop. I think that they'll go with the support your countrymen sort of thing, and that would be what their argument would be. And seeing as Canon would be losing in this case, they probably would be more open to it.
Right. But then that story gets a little bit muddied, because our next story kind of brings all that together. Sony is contemplating buying out Tamron outright. Not just like, I mean, they already have 15% market share, but they're like, let's buy the whole...
They own 15% of the company.
Yeah. But now they're like, let's take the whole company. Let's own Tamron.
I believe that the impetus for this was that Singaporean investment company, Affisimo Capital Management, increased its share last month of Tamron to over 17%. So now Sony is not the largest investor in the business. And now I think Sony saw that and was like, well, fine, why don't we just try and buy it? And they're not just considering it, Chris.
They put in a bid.
They put in a full bid that now Tamron's board is considering.
I mean, I think this is interesting, but what's really fascinating is what this could possibly mean for future Tamron products. And there's an excellent article on the site, just kind of like weighing the different possibilities of what could happen coming out of this. But I mean, yeah, I think the biggest question is if Sony is suddenly owning Tamron, are they still going to allow them to make lenses for Z mount, or is that going to be closed in? I mean, obviously, for a business decision, a good chunk of Tamron's revenue comes from rebranding their own lenses as Nikon or producing in Z mount. So is that still going to continue, or are they going to be Sony only? Which, again, Sony Tamron lenses is the biggest part of their business by far.
Yeah. But then that's where it kind of muddies things, right? Because like a lot of companies are already licensing Sony to make their sensors, and now they're like, oh, and now they're also making a bunch of third-party glass for our cameras. Like, that gets tricky.
I think there's no smart business choice to telling Tamron they can't make lenses for other mounts. Like, why would you cripple your own business that way?
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that.
I could see them potentially doing like some Halo products, like, the 35-150 or something like that as E-mount only, and just kind of further expanding that perception of like Sony as your first choice if you're into, more bizarre third-party options and stuff like that. I could see them doing.
Yeah, do you think Sony would sort of move over some of those lens formulas into the Sony?
Well, keep them branded Tamron, but it's like a Sony. It's like video game developers being like, "This is a platform exclusive for the first 5 years," or something like that. You want that 35-150? It's only here, baby.
I just think Sony. I guess the point I was getting is, I think Sony would really revel the idea of now having optics and sensors that they control in other brands' cameras.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's kind of the thing, right? Because Sony can make great sensors. They can make great lenses. G Master lenses, G series are great lenses, but nobody else uses them, obviously. So this would be an opportunity then for Sony. Like, I think Sony wants to be this company that everybody has to come to and license from to get variety of products, which puts them in a very powerful position.
Precedent for them doing this with sensors.
Exactly, that's what I mean. Yeah, like when this starts to complete the global domination, the empire.
So you both are speaking of this as like a foregone conclusion. Do you think Tamron will accept?
Oof, I don't know.
I would have to be some sort of smart investment knowledge person in order to make that assumption. And I don't know the inner workings of Tamron's board right now.
Nor am I qualified. I am qualified to point out certain sounds, like anything that you might hear in the background or like any distractions going on in the camera.
Yeah, I mean, my big understanding is Tamron hasn't been hurting that bad the last few years. Like, I know they're not like exponential growth, but I don't think they're in like it's not a GoPro situation where people are like, we got to dump this to the nearest buyer.
I think they'll sell.
Tamron's total market cap is $1.22 billion US. Sony's fiscal year 2025 operating profit so far is $8.9 billion US.
Right. But they have K-pop Demon Hunters. So,
just
this
their
is different
profit. So it goes to show that Sony could very easily afford this, even if Tamron would be, I think is either 2 or 3 times your market cap. You build in what you would think the offer would be effectively what you think the company is worth, plus more, plus whatever their share price is expected to increase because of the announcement that you're doing this. Yes, you can just open that can, Jordan. That's fine.
Well, no, I'm waiting for the next topic can opening segue here.
Oh,
I see. Is it time for that?
I guess we can move on. But is Tamron like? Are they buying the entire Tamron organization or just the optical division? Because Tamron does a lot of industrial work too. They do a lot of like third-party optics for things that are not photographically related.
They would be purchasing all of Tamron.
I could see Sony wanting a piece of that for sure. All the subsidiary businesses that Tamron also does dealings with. Yeah.
All right, so there we go.
Nice.
I'm not going to match to that on the edit as like where this conversation starts, but close to it. We're going to keep talking about Tamron and Sony, so let's do one from Tamron first. This is the first time I've ever heard of anyone ever doing this, and I don't know what caused it and how it happened, but Tamron has significantly improved the close-up focusing performance of its 25-200 f2.8 to 5.6 lens through firmware, which has me asking some questions, namely, what?
Yeah. So I didn't have a chance to test this, but I did have a chance to update the firmware on this lens right before I left on this trip. So this lens has not been powered up yet. I'm going to pass it over to Chris, because one of our major criticisms when we compared the Sigma 20 to 200 versus the Tamron 25 to 200 is that the Sigma had way better macro capability, because the Tamron initially was only good at 25 millimeters, which is pretty restrictive. It means you're basically jamming the lens right on it. Where here you're going to get actually more than half life-size reproduction. I believe it's like 35 to 50 range.
I don't know if my headphone will reach here. I don't want to...
Well, that's pretty zoomed in. It should be more like the 35-50 range that you can get really close now.
Yes, within the 35 to 50 millimeter range, the lens achieves a maximum magnification ratio of 1 to 1.7, which is better.
Yeah, that's very close.
Now, look, you're still on the subject, though.
Yeah, but that's still more useful.
It's letting us make use of that extra telephoto magnification.
Do you want... So try 25 to 70. So go to 70, you get 1 to 2. Half macro.
Yeah, 70 is not as good,
So, I mean, I just want to ask you, while Chris is playing with that, Jordan... What?
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like, what was the restriction here? I mean, is it... So it may be able to get that close. I'd love to know if it's actually sharp, if you get that close, and that's why they restricted it so that it wouldn't
I'm sure that's what it was.
As close as the optics can go. I'd be very curious how this actually performs. But I do think, like, based on our review, like, everyone's going to be comparing the Sigma and the Tamron against each other. Like, those are the two direct competitors, and the Sigma did have a real advantage in mid-range macro if you're just looking at the spec list on paper.
Yeah.
And I think they were like, oh, here's a way where we can just quickly eliminate that disadvantage if people are just magazine shopping.
So you're saying it could always have done this.
Oh, it has
Tamron
to. Yeah,
restricted
the optical elements can obviously focus.
No.
So Tamron, how many other lenses do you think that they have this capability to do?
To have a lens perform optically well up close does require some engineering. You know, there's often use of floating elements, close range corrections, things like this. And if you don't implement them, even if the lens can focus the light, you often have issues like soft corners or just general softness. So maybe Tamron found that it was unacceptable, but then they're like, from a marketing standpoint, we should let people try it anyways.
Yeah.
Who knows? We haven't tested this to see if it's like soft or not. No, you're gonna have a wasp in your drink,
right? I'm not gonna drink it.
Just eat it. Just eat the wasp. But it seems to work now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think give us the option, but I think
it's maybe a little too late because, like, I think everybody who was going to make a decision between these two lenses probably has now made that decision. But
no, there's people in the future who might be comparing. But it's not the day the review drops.
That's not
everybody collectively.
That's not how time works. It's not a linear line. It's a Mobius strip.
Let us know if time is a linear line or a Mobius strip in the comments below.
I'm just putting the camera back there.
This is neat. I'm curious what the listeners have to say about this and what precedent this sets for Tamron being able to do this. Tamron is excellent at firmware updates and generally software, which is very unusual among Japanese companies. Software is not any of their strong suits typically.
Yeah, but Tamron does a good job.
Yeah, they do
Tamron does a good job.
Next story linked to these last two stories. Sony actually published an official list of E-mount partners, which I didn't know was a thing. And I called our contact at Sony and asked, this is a thing? And apparently it's a thing, but there's not a ton of information about it. I have asked additional questions. But this official list of E-mount partners just appeared, and this says this licensed partner list is accurate as of July 2026, and this page is not indexed yet on like the Internet Archive, so it's a new page. This didn't exist before, so it wasn't an update to a previous page. And the E-mount basic specifications have been disclosed to the partners, which quote satisfy the qualification criteria predefined by Sony. What are those, you ask? I don't know. And I've asked, and I'm hoping
Does
to
Sony
actually
know?
hear.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are these qualification criteria? But here you go. Here are the partners. Carl Zeiss, Cook Optics, Cosina, Fujifilm, Kenko Takina, LK Samyang, Sigma, Tamron, and Thales. And Thales is Ingenu. in case for those who don't know. Fujifilm was one of the ones that stood out here as like, wait, what? Well, yes, it turns out they make E-mount
MK lenses.
lenses.
Some of my favorite lenses.
Yeah.
Those are available. They are not like on store shelves. They're special order, but they will make them.
Oh, I stocked them back at the camera store because I care about my fellow E-mount users. Maybe
job.
they're still there.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good job,
That was a long
Jordan.
time ago.
So here's the thing, though. Looking at all those, there are some notable exclusions. No company from China is on this list. What does that mean? And honestly, does it matter?
Not really. I mean, first off, I guess this sort of revelation is something that everybody's always sort of suspected, right? I mean, Sony has kind of had this reputation for being very generous with third-party support, even ones that aren't obviously licensed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which we didn't know, by the way, was a thing that you had to do. They just said it was open. They never said you had to license before.
No, exactly. So yeah, I think that's cool. I mean, Sony, I think it was a real strength for them. I think it was a very smart move, a very big risk to be like, let's stay open, let's not really go after people, let's let people make lenses. We're going to have the widest range of third-party lens support, and I think that's actually done very well for the brand and the reputation of people buying the cameras. But yeah, no, does it matter if it's licensed or not?
I mean, currently it doesn't, but here's my pitch to Sony that I think would be a great option, is your official partners on the E-mount unlock full frame rate with autofocus for them specifically. Then you're actually penalizing the Chinese manufacturers who aren't communicating with you, and you're making your partners a little more special because, I want to use a Sigma lens at 120 frames per second.
Companies like
with
Sigma and
autofocus.
Tamron aren't on that list, are they?
Yes, they are.
Yes,
They are. Okay.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the ones who have been working with
Here's
Sony.
the thing, though. We're not aware of any costs associated with becoming an official E-mount licensing partner outside of like administrative costs, like minor ones.
Yeah.
And there doesn't seem to be any particular reason a brand like Viltrox, for example, could not seek an official partnership and be granted it. It just seems to me like it's possible Viltrox decided they just weren't going to ask, like they weren't aware this was a thing.
I mean, there might be business restrictions that we're not privy to, right?
Possibly.
There might be restrictions involved with if you do agree to be a licensing partner, maybe you don't make certain lenses for who knows, right? Like,
and here's the other thing. It's like this page just appeared. So like, will there be further restrictions?
right.
Yeah.
Or is this an invitation to open up to some other brands to be like, hey, look, this is a pathway. Who knows?
So there's like one case that we should point to as like a maybe this could have been avoided sort of thing. And it's when the A7 IV came out and there was this kerfuffle about third-party lenses not working with it correctly,
Right.
and Viltrox had to go and do a firmware update for that to happen. It is my understanding that if you are one of these licensing partners, you have more direct access to Sony engineers and those types of conversations, and it helps you avoid situations like that.
Oh, that makes sense.
Now, sorry,
Viltrox didn't say that this was anything nefarious by Sony at the time when that happened,
No.
and they were able to fix it within like 2 weeks. But like,
well, that brings me to another point: is that maybe the reason there's no Chinese companies on there is because they don't care. They don't care about being on the list. They're like,
there you go.
It's easy for us to reverse engineer this stuff. We've been doing it for decades. We have it fully functioning. Sony's not interested in penalizing us, in any major way. And that could be it. It's like, why go through the licensing rigmarole if there's no real tangible benefit?
Yeah. That could be a Viltrox t-shirt. Viltrox,
Yeah.
we don't care. We just don't care.
Well, not just like every Chinese lens manufacturer. I mean, like, look, the reputation is they kind of are just like, we'll just do what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? Nothing? Okay.
And they're gonna do it, and if you sue us, and guess you lose.
Yeah,
So,
right? Nikon's like, so obviously there's a tension, right? If Nikon has a tension towards Viltrox, everybody does. And again, Seven Artisans, TT, all these companies, right? But there's obviously a bubble. There's a window. There's a life jacket out in the lake protecting these companies from drowning, and so maybe they're just enjoying.
I didn't think you were
that.
going to land that plane, but you did. Well
I
done.
did. So maybe they're just
I know
enjoying.
you thought of life jacket before you finished the metaphor.
Well,
in
we
your
are
head.
surrounded by life jackets. They're like all
two
around.
back-to-back metaphors there. All right, halfway through the news. Next one. This is
Oh
just
God,
kind of
we're doing bad at this. Let's go faster.
just a quick hit here. Xtra, which is DJI in a trench coat, says it's in talks with the FCC about fines and its potential bans. So, Jordan, we were in conversations about how to involve the Xtra Muse 2 Pro in discussions about the Osmo Pocket 4P and the Luna Ultra, comparing like options here for people. Well, because the FCC appears to have finally realized that Xtra is just DJI, they are blocking their ability to import those new products. So Xtra is unable to say when or if the Muse 2 Pro will actually come to the U.S. market. So,
well, when I was just working on the Pocket 4P review, I was actually going to double check the price and availability of the Xtra, and it was off the Xtra website already at that point. So it seems like things took effect very quickly.
Yeah. Not really sure what's going to happen with this, so we will keep an eye on it. What's happening?
Our children are frolicking off in the distance on their bicycles.
Okay. Moving right along, I have two stories in the description if you want to read more about that. Both the Xtra says it's currently talking with the FCC about these potential bans, and also the fact that you can no longer order the Xtra Muse 2 Pro are both on there. All right, real quick, I wanted to ask you guys. Jeremy did a story about the DL, the Nikon DL compact cameras.
Great story.
Definitely worth reading. I want to ask you guys your opinion. Should Nikon try this again and bring back the DL?
Yes, 18 to 50 especially. People are itching for that thing. A landscape pocket camera. Who wouldn't want one? Chris Nichols, apparently.
Yeah, he's making a face like he's not interested in the DLs.
He's making his smelly poo-poo face.
Jordan, for those who aren't familiar, can you explain the DLs briefly? What were they and why were they canceled?
Yeah, so this is around the time where the RX 100 series from Sony was getting really popular.
Yeah.
And Nikon already had their Type 1 cameras, their 1 series bodies, which were interchangeable lens cameras, which actually had a lot of revelations. It was like the first stacked sensors, on-chip phase detection, a lot of the stuff that's pretty established now. So they were like, let's just throw all of that technology into a fixed lens camera. So they made 3 of them. There was going to be a standard, I think it was a 24 to 80 millimeter equivalent range. The really interesting ones were an 18 to 50, and that's a real, an actual 18 ultra wide. As well, they were going to do a super zoom, which is really similar to what Sony wound up doing with the RX 10 series around that same time. It would be a complete line of more advanced point and shoots from Nikon at the time when Nikon, their point and shoots at towards the end of the point and shoot era were just trash, basically.
Yeah. I'm making a poo-poo face because, I get that it's your child. I get that companies want to have these fixed lens cameras. I have no problem with that, but I'm kind of a little bit over the whole small sensor thing. I don't know. Everything we've seen lately has just kind of been a rehash of very old cameras, not bringing anything really new to the table. I would like to see Nikon do a fixed lens APS-C camera, but a nice one.
Right.
Not the A, because the A was kind of boring looking, but a sexy A. I think would be really nice,
A sweet piece of A.
A sweet piece of A, not a boring piece of A. So I think there's maybe more potential there to do some fun stuff, flesh out their APS-C. Even making a small interchangeable APS-C, I think would be good. But that's not a dumb vlogging camera. Enough with the vlogging cameras. No more vlogging cameras. That could be really cool. I don't know. The DLs, sure, they don't really excite me that much.
I just
think
think
they look neat.
Yeah, they have great aesthetics.
Draw the design over to APS-C.
And if Canon could actually make enough G7X3s, I'd totally agree. But the problem is, cameras with good manual controls and Type 1 sensors, they can't make enough of them. Everybody wants these things. Do they? So, yeah, and the Nikon, where their technology was even back in the day, would be pretty current because we were still looking at a Type 1 stacked sensor on the RX 10.5 a few weeks ago.
It is weird that they basically kiboshed that whole thing.
It's nuts.
It is weird, yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about that era a little later in this episode.
That's good tease. Final story before we move on to that. It happened. Viltrox's first Micro Four Thirds lenses are on the way. And hey, shocker, Viltrox is not an official Micro Four Thirds member.
But I suspect I'll be able to mount these onto a photo camera and they'll power up. So I'm very excited about that.
I feel like you're making a reference there, Jordan, to something that happened recently.
Yeah, except I'm stalling because I can't remember. It was YOLO Live. Yes, the YOLO Live lens that we weren't able to review. This should be a little more functional.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think it's nice to see them moving into this, but these are APS-C designs. Like, I'd really like to see original formulas to take advantage of what Micro Four Thirds is so good at, which is very small optics.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, Jordan Drake.
All right. There we go. That's it for the news. Let's move on to every major camera maker's greatest accomplishment and deepest shame.
Do you hear it? I'm not going to mention it this time.
Okay.
It's coming.
So here are the camera brands that we have. Canon, Nikon, Sony, Panasonic Lumix, Fujifilm, OM System, Leica, Hasselblad, Sigma, and Ricoh Pentax. Because Jordan reminded me that they exist, and I had forgotten to put them on this list.
Like many.
So let's start with Canon. What is Canon's greatest accomplishment, Chris?
So I was thinking about this. I mean, obviously Canon have an illustrious history. They've made tons of cameras, but I think it's going to be the original film-based EOS 1. To me, yeah, because I feel like, although Canon's been a great company for a long time, they made Rebels, all this kind of stuff, there's lots of accomplishments. The EOS 1, okay, let me give the context here. I think we have to understand that back in the day, there was a real rivalry between Canon and Nikon, right? Every professional...
Unlike now where they go to each other's birthday parties.
No, but now there's a lot more people at the party, right? So you have to make some friends. But back then it was really, they were the big two, right? There was some journalists using Leica shooters and stuff, but back in the day in the 80s and stuff, like journalism was the sexy part of photography. Mm-hmm. It's not anymore, and that's sad. But we grew up like idolizing Nat Geo photographers, war photographers, like all these amazing journalists. And that was really like the pinnacle in a lot of cases of photographic achievement, was these people capturing stunning, heart-wrenching photos. And you were pretty much either a Canon or Nikon user. Yeah. And then sports was really exciting, and photography was a big part of sports and wildlife, right? It was really Canon or Nikon having battles between autofocus performance, and the EOS 1, I feel, is when Canon really pulled ahead. Yeah. They made this professional body. Nikon had amazing professional bodies, but Canon EOS 1 really showed an autofocusing benefit, and that started to bring users over in droves. And when the pros started shooting a lot of Canons, and you saw these big bodies that are very recognizable on the side of tennis courts and F1 pitches and stuff, and then you've got big white lenses going everywhere, that then drove all of the photographers to then say, well, I want a Canon as well. I'm going to get a Rebel. I'm going to get, one of these compact cameras from this brand that are doing such a great job. And those autofocus improvements also really benefited the entry-level market. Yep. So, EOS 1.
For perspective that I always use, the F6 came out about 10 years later and was still a much worse autofocusing camera than the EOS.
Not much worse.
F6? F6 film camera.
Okay.
11 autofocus points.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah,
that was an excellent noise he just made.
Yeah, because Canon's autofocus did improve over the years too. Yeah, I mean, really, but the EOS 1 started that dominance. So that's why I think it's their greatest accomplishment. I think it's their... Plus, I mean, look, these were amazing camera bodies, right? Like, they were super rugged, fully sealed, like, they could take a lot of abuse, great handling, great prisms, anyhow.
Jordan?
I digress.
I think it's the 5D2. I think this is the digital camera where a lot of people hit the threshold of good enough. Like, there are still a lot of portrait photographers, studio photographers using Canon 5D2 and an 85-1.8, and it'll pay the bills. It was like the threshold where it's like, this gives me enough room to crop, does everything well, let alone the fact that it started the large sensor video camera revolution. So I think, and it was just a massive sales success. Like, at the camera store, my job was basically to move 5D2 boxes into and out of the store for several years.
I get it. Look, all I'm saying, the 5D Mark II is a legendary camera. Absolutely. I will not disagree with that in any way, shape, or absolutely legendary camera. But I'm just arguing that the EOS 1 made the company of Canon more legendary, right? And that the 5D Mark II is there because of the EOS 1.
I believe you both have made compelling arguments. I'm going to go with Chris here on this, though.
Okay.
I think
that's understandable.
That perspective is strong. Okay, what's their deepest shame?
Well, it's the XC10, right? I mean, it's got to be the XC10.
You think the XC10? I actually have an alt.
Oh, I hate that camera.
Yeah, that camera sucks.
It was the culmination of, I mean, Canon did some radical designs. They did some weird stuff. They are just as guilty of the hideous monstrosities that came out of the 90s with digital cameras. And I feel like that heritage transferred into a lot of other cameras. Like the Pro 1 was a weird body. Like it was ungainly and strange. And then the XC10, it could still do the job. And then the XC10, I just feel like it's a poorly designed camera.
Okay.
I know I've ragged on it so many times.
So I think that's one of their worst products, period. Yeah. But I don't know if it's their deepest shame because it didn't cost people livelihood and jobs to the extent of the Canon 1D3, which was a professional body which could not focus when it first came out. Our buddy Rob Galbraith had a very big camera website. He's like, why, when the subject moves forward and back, is this thing so inconsistent? It received, I remember in the first year I worked at the camera store, it was over 10 firmware updates to try and get the autofocus working, and it turned out that the mirror inside was very susceptible to changes in temperature.
Yeah.
And it would screw up your autofocus if things suddenly got hot or cold. On their flagship photojournalist sports body, it was the fastest replacement of a 1D series camera ever for the 4, which fixed that. But they had to do a hardware fix, and a lot of people didn't want to ship their cameras in to get it replaced, and it was on the market for over a year before those hardware replacements started happening.
That was a shameful
which
camera.
Sucked for professionals. So that's my pick.
Yeah, Jordan's right. XC10
that was pretty
blows,
shameful. I agree.
Yeah, Jordan's right. That is insane.
I totally forgot about the 1D3, probably because it was so shameful that I just...
Remember Rob would just like hang out at the camera store and be like, oh, you're thinking of buying that 1D3? Hey, don't do it.
No, it was bad. And a lot of people would be like, oh, should I get the 1D3? And you're like, yeah.
Look at this 1D2. I've heard good things about this.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's keep going because that took a while. We have many more to go through. What is Nikon's greatest accomplishment, Jordan?
So for greatest accomplishment there, I think this is a pretty easy one. This is the rebound moment for Nikon. It's the D800. Now, I think a lot of people would argue the D3, D700, because that's where they got currently competitive with Canon, but the D800 was where they really leaped ahead. This is the first implementation of like a modern dynamic range sensor where you could really push the shadows. It was tons of resolution while still being very good in low light, and the autofocus was way better than the F6. It saw a huge improvement there as well.
My initial thought process was like, okay, Nikon Z8 is like a recent camera. But again, it's just a legendary camera. Mm-hmm. And I mean, all the companies have legendary cameras. So I think, again, it's kind of going that EOS 1 arc again. But for me, Nikon F, the original F, I think is their greatest accomplishment. Because that really took Nikon from being a sort of boutique, like rangefinder making company, into like a full-fledged professional journalist company. And the cool thing about the Nikon F, it wasn't just a usable pro camera, it was a customizable pro camera. It kind of started this whole thing of interchangeable finders, new meters, like a great lens lineup, and look how many iconic photos it took. Look how reliable it was in the worst situations. It really, I think, propelled Nikon's reputation to greatness as a professional photojournalist brand. And and they were great. They were great cameras to use. They were reliable, customizable, modifiable. Awesome.
So here's what I'm going to do here, because you both make compelling cases. So what I did is I went and looked up how many they sold of each. And they sold 862,600 Nikon F cameras.
Wow.
They sold 346,900 D800s.
There you go. Okay.
So I think Chris wins this one.
I think Chris is going to bring the historical context to a lot of these conversations.
Sure.
And I'm just going to use recency bias of things I've touched.
Well, but look, the Z8 was like, one of their most recent major accomplishments.
The D800 is still
totally
beloved. So, like, I'm sure there's going to be folks who disagree with this because that's a great pick. The D800 is a huge accomplishment. But they sold a hell of a lot more Fs.
Oh, dude. I mean, the F was just...
It's so good. I have 2.
And for a long time, it was the tool. Like, if you were going to be a photojournalist, it was either a Leica or a Nikon F. You know what I mean?
And you know what? It works just as well today as it did back then, too.
Yep.
Just as it absolutely
incredibly just a tank, yeah.
This one is fun because Nikon has many of these. What is their deepest shame?
Dude, it's the key mission. I mean,
yeah, I agree too. Yeah, it's a key mission.
Yes, it is in fact the key mission. You can have your pick. Which one of the key missions? Well, I think the 360 one might be the worst one that they made because it didn't work ever.
Yeah.
Ours
was in the bottom of the Bow River.
Yeah, ours worked until it fell in the river. Yeah.
I could not get that thing to produce a functional 360 video, and the seam line, the seam
line is great.
Atrocious bad.
Yeah.
You know what's fun?
Horrible.
Our old camera store video is still online in full VR, so you can scroll around and see the key mission image quality.
Yeah.
It's nightmarish.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. But like, it was the dark ages back then of action cameras, right? Like everybody was throwing stuff at the wall to see what would stick. 360 was this huge thing. I think 360 in general is maybe the camera industry's deepest shame, right? Like, or is it 3D television? Maybe 3D television. But everybody was like, oh, this is going to be the future. Everybody was on YouTube scrolling around with their mouse and using their VR goggles. And like, it was such a flash in the pan.
I mean, for context, the big reason I highlight this is it was a period where Nikon needed a hit.
Yeah.
And this set them back dramatically.
Yeah, this almost killed the company.
The reason why it was
such a colossal failure is it
and
almost
they went
sank
whole
Nikon.
hog in on this.
I remember it. It was at Photo Plus in New York. Their whole booth was about the key mission.
Yeah,
and
all the reps were pushing it and talking about it.
We don't know how much money they lost. Yeah, but it had to have been a lot.
We were on the sales floor at that time, and of course, in a retail environment, you get the gist of what the company's heads up or the upper echelons are trying to push, right? And so the sales reps are like, "Have you seen the key mission? We're so excited about the key mission. It's gonna be awesome. Like, try it out. Like, it's gonna be rad. Blah blah blah."
I mean, you could use the boxes as like a stool or something like that while we waited for that stock to eventually be discounted enough to sell. But yeah,
and it was all thanks to GoPro, right? Because GoPro was just like running away success with their action cameras. The Hero was just, everybody wanted one. And so everybody jumped on that bandwagon, and a lot of people fell off that bandwagon.
Yeah. I mean, that one was the most obvious pick. So
we're two in. Yeah. Let's move faster.
Yeah. Sony's greatest accomplishment, Chris.
Sony's greatest accomplishment was the original A7. Their first full-frame mirrorless camera. I know. It had a lot of flaws, but it was a proof of concept for Sony to go from making basically Minolta DSLRs to now their own novel product that really cemented and started their 5 fundamentals.
I don't think we saw that chart. No, the chart came out when they invented the Z battery, because one of the fundamentals was great battery life.
Great battery life.
And they didn't have that until...
Doesn't matter.
The fundamental was actury just battery.
Oh,
battery. Thank you, Jordan. And it had a battery. It had the FW50 in it. But this was a proof of concept that honestly shook up the entire industry, because everybody was using D800s and all the 5D Mark IIs. Absolutely. Camera comes out. It's like, ooh, okay, mirrorless is this new concept. Everybody's looking at it as like a toy. It's for casual photographers. It's for people traveling. They want a pocket camera. Now we have this camera. It's like, well, we can make full frame optics. We can make high resolution sensors. We can make the camera smaller and lighter, have a digital viewfinder. And I think that really started the entire industry on a course. So not only is it one of Sony's greatest accomplishments, but it was a huge change for the industry as a whole.
So my counter argument to that is I think that the A7 originals and the A7R were used largely as like digital backs for people to mount adapters to.
Sure.
Because, they were super adaptable, but they weren't good cameras.
That's why it's a proof of concept.
Right. I think the thing that really changed everything is the A7 III, because that's the first time people were looking at their 5Ds and their Nikon D700s and being like, oh, this can do stuff that mine can't, with really compelling lenses. Started happening at the exact same moment there. And sales for the A7 and A7R originals, not good. A7 IIIs, I think that's got to be one of the best-selling cameras of all time, especially full-frame cameras.
You're a real chicken guy today, and I'm an egg guy today.
Yeah, it's true. Again, you're the historical context, and I'm the guy who's like, well, this is better, so I'm right.
Yeah.
Jared?
Sony, I'm trying to see how many they sold.
A7 III was great.
I don't know if that is. I'm a little surprised. I'm going to go with Jordan here because I think my pick would have been the A7R III.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I think it was like but this generation was effectively the crap from Canon and Nikon being like, well darn. Because they made fun of, quietly and not publicly, but the sales reps and people who work for Canon were like laughing at the A7. And you know what?
They were like, I'm an A7. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, the A7, arguably, I think, awful camera. I hated the original A7 and A7R. I thought they were trash. Probably because they were. Yeah. But by the time we get to the third generation, it showed how quickly Sony could iterate and how good it had gotten.
I can concede that.
I think
because of its new battery type, it had 5 fundamentals.
Yeah, it did have that 5th fundamental. It did pick that up.
All right. Sony's greatest
deepest shame. Yeah.
The original A7. So original A7. Yeah. Yeah.
It's both?
Yeah.
Yes, it's both. It was, because I'm trying to say, it was a proof of concept that proved to be incredibly powerful, industry changing.
But as a proof of concept, it sucked.
It was objectively, it's an awful camera. Yeah,
it was bad.
It was ugly. The FW50 battery could barely power that thing. The autofocus was absolute trash. There weren't enough lenses. Yeah, there weren't enough lenses.
It was so terrible.
Early Sony G lenses were not very good.
Even early Sony G Master lenses were not very good.
That's what I'm saying, right? So it was but they stuck with it. It became industry changing.
Correct.
But the Sony A7 is their deepest shame.
The 24-70, by the way, the original G Master, is a trash lens. Absolute garbage lens.
Yeah.
Jordan?
I mean, it was a good film lens.
What?
Right. It did.
That was then pressed into service as a mirrorless. Yeah.
It can't resolve. It's awful.
Yeah.
Jordan, what's their deepest shame?
I almost don't want to go because that's a great answer. I'm going to go with the VG100. Do you remember these, Jared?
Sure,
I don't have to Google this right now.
Okay, so it's just like a long tube you would mount a lens to. It was like a camcorder hooking up with a mirrorless camera. But the first version of this was based on their NEX 3s and 5s, which were photo cameras.
VG10 or VG100?
Or VG1, I thought it was the 10.
You said 100,
you said 100.
But there is a 10.
There's the 10.
Yeah,
There's
okay,
10.
sorry. Yes.
It's a 2010 hybrid HD camcorder.
That's the one,
They were
baby.
pretty bad.
Yeah. Hideous. But,
They were hideous. They weren't that bad, though.
This thing looks like a soda can attached to a tiny camcorder.
But this is a camcorder. It could only shoot 60i. When this thing first came out, because it was, again, based on a photo camera, but could shoot really nice photos with a loud mechanical shutter.
But they've made so many bad cameras.
This is one that stood out to me.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to give this to Chris.
God, this is
A7
hard.
original.
Like the Sony K, they made the Sony KW that looked like a perfume bottle. It was for women to do selfies specifically. What was that? The awful smartphone connected one, the QX?
I was considering that as well. The QX1.
That was a piece of garbage. But no, I mean, the A7 was trash. Absolute trash. I hated using it. I had to review it. I was like, this is not fun.
My lovely wife's on a bike.
I'm going to
you're the one getting distracted. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's because his wife's involved.
Their greatest and worst accomplishment.
Yeah, it's their greatest. That's very funny. I like that a lot. Lumix, what is their greatest accomplishment?
Oh, it's the GM5. It's the GM5. It's the greatest camera of all time. Maybe the GH5.
You've made a whole video. You don't have to explain yourself.
No, I don't have to explain.
No,
but
we can move
could be
on.
the GH5 as well. The GH5 was like, I mean, the GH2 was so influential. I was like, maybe the GH4. The
GH4 is so
Nothing
good.
was mainstream until the GH5, I would argue. If we're going to go GH, I think the 5 is the tipping point.
Yeah.
Where every YouTuber had it. Every like corporate video shooter had it.
Is that your pick?
Well, I went with GH5 because it's like, they proved that they could already make excellent video.
Okay, it's GH5, not GM5. You're picking GH5.
Yeah, GH5, but it's the GM5 is like
So
great.
pick one. Which one is it?
No, it's the GH5.
Okay. Mine is the GF1. This was the real turning point where people saw the potential of mirrorless cameras. This was kitted with a beautiful little 20mm f1.7 prime. And I remember, like, the reason we started our YouTube channel was we were like, people need to know about how cool this camera is. Look at this clip-on EVF. That rocks. Look at it. It's got full manual controls on this. You could get a little bit of shallow depth of field. This thing rules. Mirrorless is the future.
It was a cool little case. So you're going origin story now. It was a cool little camera. I mean, the GM5 is way better. I hated that EVF.
I think the GF1 can shoot a 4,000th of a second shutter speed. I'm like, 500th of a second shutter
No.
The
GM5 goes faster than 500.
I'm sorry, Jordan. You should have gone with your video.
with the GH5?
It's the GH5.
The GH5 is such a great camera.
I would have accepted GH4 because I loved my GH4.
I mean, even the GH2 was awesome.
GH3 was great too. Like the GH series is a spectacular line that has always been good. So
get him. Get the Wasp. Where's your zapper?
I don't have my zapper here.
It's
great. In 1080, you can actually.
I think I forgot to do Panasonic's greatest shame.
Jordan, since he forgot, what's Panasonic's greatest shame?
ZS300. You take a fairly okay camera and you make it worse after 8 years by removing the electronic viewfinder and adding none of the cool stuff you've developed in between.
Yeah. I know Panasonic's greatest shame, but yes, that's a good choice.
I don't think they're ashamed of this, Jordan. I think they are pleased with themselves because they're selling them.
Yeah.
All right.
Panasonic's greatest shame to me is their self-admitted heavy marketing towards the video side. They basically castrated their photo division. As much as they probably hate me saying that. Oh yeah, the wasps are all over us. As much as they probably hate me saying that, I mean, I think people have to agree Panasonic let their photo users feel unimportant. That's awful. They didn't, but they kind of did. I feel like that's shame. I feel like they could have gone with a very pincer move and really give strength to both photo and video, but they really went whole hog on video. And I get that that's where their money was being made. Are you running away from the wasp?
I'm putting the Fresco away from the wasp.
Oh, okay.
Well, while Jordan lumbers off, so it sounds to me like if you had to pick a camera, then it would be the G9 II? Because they claimed it was a photo camera?
Sure, but it was a video camera. It was a great video. I mean, the G9 II is a great photo camera as well, but the standout feature that everybody was excited about was really like open gate recording. And you're like, well.
Yeah, so Jordan, what I was just saying to Chris was if he had to pick one, then would he have to be a G9 II because they claimed it was a photo camera and it's just like not. They claimed they made the grip big for bird photography.
Yeah, it's such a good camera though.
I know.
I don't know if that could be greatest shame.
No, I mean for me the greatest shame is...
I think a 300 is way more shameful.
Again, it's more of just an example of what I'm saying, where I think their greatest shame has really been like strong video features, really appealing to that market, but always kind of
picked a model for every other category.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ty here. I don't think either of you made a compelling case for Lumix's shame. Maybe they're not that shameful. Company.
Yeah, good for them.
All right. Yeah. Fujifilm's greatest accomplishment. Okay.
But Jaron, as a TV guy though, remember when they like went whole hog in on plasma TVs and then that was like bleh, and LEDs completely stole the market?
And not only that, they were so unable to recover in the US market.
They took a beating on that, didn't they?
They also exited the US market for like a decade.
Yeah, there you go.
They couldn't sell products here.
I wouldn't say
they are back in it finally. But yeah, their TVs were not great here. No.
Yeah.
Plasma, man, boys, those aged poorly. Fujifilm's greatest accomplishment.
As much as I hate it, I think it's kind of a no-brainer. It's the X100 series of cameras because it was the first concept to really show like sexy cameras, vintage-inspired cameras. People want these things. They want a camera that's even as hideously limited as it is with a stupid lens. People are like, this is really cool. And I get it, and it was functional, and it's not like they're the first concept. I mean, they were standing on the shoulders of film cameras like, the Ricoh GR series, and it's not coming to me, but all the other no non-digitals like the Nikon steam gauge one, that's because my brain doesn't work.
SP35.
Yeah. All these kind of cameras, and so I think they were standing on great shoulders, but in the digital world, it was basically unheard of. They did it well, and it basically became a huge part of their brand identity beyond that, into all the other cameras they made.
I think you're pandering to the judge here. I think the biggest one by far is the XT3. This is one of their most popular cameras, but it was the exact moment where it was no longer like, look, we do kind of cool retro cameras and you're going to have to deal with the technological limitations that come along with them if you want to enjoy this vibe. The XT3 was cutting edge for video. At the time, its autofocus was, some argue, it's better than their current autofocus
because before
system.
that point, they sucked for video.
A higher-end electronic viewfinder, the tilty screen, like it was a true hybrid device that could compete not just based on being like a really good-looking camera, but just being a very well-rounded one. And I know that so many of the X series lenses sold because the XT3 was such a huge hit. And historically, the DSLR style, or not DSLR, the SLR style bodies always outsold the rangefinder styles. So this also,
when it came to interchangeable lenses,
grew Fuji's market enormously.
Sure, but the X100 walked, so the XT3 could run.
Jordan, I don't appreciate that you say it's pandering to the judge.
I don't like that camera. I made it very public.
Captain
I don't like the camera.
Here?
I can still respect.
But I'm going to accept that it did and it worked.
Okay.
I think Chris is right. Although I was close. I was very close on giving it to you, Jordan, because that XT, you make a strong case for it. Convince me what their greatest shame is.
So this is a very personal one to me, so you probably won't vote for it. But their biggest shame to me, personally, Chris Nichols, was canceling the Neopan line of black and white films, 400 and 1600, which are my favorite emulsions of all time. Canceling those and never bringing them back. They brought Acros back, great film.
Yeah, what's up with that, right?
No problems with Acros. Analog is bigger than ever, and why would they abandon those things?
They didn't put it in. They didn't make a film simulation for it either.
No, they haven't made a film. It's like they don't want to acknowledge that this child exists, and I think that's really cruel for that child. And it's like, there are not many 1600 speed emulsions, black and white emulsions on the market, and I think if it was back,
there's like 2.
People would love it. So I've always thought that was a weird decision. Neopan's such a cool name. The box art was cool, and the films were stunningly good. They were beautiful. 1600, you could pull that down to 640 and get like beautiful grain out of it. Really nice, strong contrast. 400 was like such a great all-around journalistic film. I don't know, man.
I still feel like you're defying the rules of this, which was to pick a camera, but okay.
No. We do. No. We established the rules before this, and we said it doesn't have to be a camera. It just has to be camera industry related.
True.
We weren't going to go into like business acquisitions or blah 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 too much.
GFX 50R. This has a huge group of people who love it. I don't understand it. It feels like garbage in your hand. It really didn't bring anything over the 50S, except for being slightly smaller, but it didn't balance well. My favorite photo ever, period, my wife took on the 50R. It took beautiful images, but I hated using it, and there's a reason it's the only design in the GFX that has never seen a replacement.
Yeah.
Because they recognized this thing sucks, and we don't enjoy it. So all of you people who defend it,
it looks
you're
really
wrong.
bad
I'm sorry.
Hands.
How's that back dial doing, all you people who love it so much? That fiddly little dial that was from like the XT30?
Yeah.
Like,
I remember reviewing that and just being like, it's, sometimes as a reviewer, you pick up a camera and before you even use it, you're just like,
nah.
Ew. Yeah. Don't. Yeah.
Jeremy says it was fine. So, as a fan of the GFX system from Jeremy, that actually is a blisteringly cruel review. So I'm going to go with Jordan's pick here.
All right.
Even though you pandered to me again. No.
But it was a personal thing. I didn't expect to win that one. It's shameful to me. I'm ashamed for them. Honestly, just the starting the GFX line could have also be one of Fujifilm's greatest accomplishments.
It's amazing how far it came in a short time.
And how it's now dominating the medium format industry. And that's like an industry you never thought somebody could break into with like Hasselblad, all these Phase 1.
Not only did they break into it, they overshadowed.
And underpriced and won and like, oh, dude.
Yeah. So the next one is Olympus OM System. Jordan, what's their greatest accomplishment?
I think so. I did put these two together, and I think the greatest accomplishment is the Olympus EM5 original. Because I feel like they were really lagging behind the other mirrorless cameras. Then suddenly they brought out this sexy body, which, this is an important lesson, feels great. It felt very metal. It felt like a premium product when that thing came out. It was, at the time, a very good autofocuser, and was launched alongside some lenses that matched, like the little primes in silver that matched the body really well. It was kind of the start of OM System as a bit of like a fashion piece, which it's still, I think they can still, which they can still hold on to this day. And it was hilarious because we worked at the camera store and we were not talking to Olympus at that time, and everybody wanted an EM5, and it was one of like 3 cameras we couldn't get in the shop. And if you get a chance, watch Olympus The Reunion. It's on the Camera Store TV's channel, where Chris reunites with Olympus after they've been apart for so long.
You can still buy an EM5 today. It's called an OM5.
Watch that short. It's stop motion short. It's so good. Chris making up with the EM5 after they've both had affairs.
Oh, that's a cute one.
So good.
I stuck to OM System because they are now their own company. Although I understand Olympus, the heritage, absolutely. But I'm very excited that OM System is now...
Tell that to the EM10-4.
Yeah. I'm very excited they're now owned, like they're a whole new company. Sugimoto-san is taking them in a new direction, I hope. We'll see. So, in that spirit, I think their greatest accomplishment was the digital OM1. Now, oddly enough, this still says Olympus on it. They kept the heritage. They're obviously keeping the moniker of Olympus's most famous professional compact camera system, the OM1 original film days. But because the OM1 was like, OM System bought the company, everybody's like, what are they going to do? Are they going to trash this line? Are they going to sell it for parts? What are they going to do to it? And they made a novel camera design that actually is incredibly functional, rugged as always, beautiful image quality, like really cemented people as like, okay, this is the new Micro Four Thirds sports wildlife camera, birding camera. And it was just a really nice thing to see a novel design that had great technology, but was under a completely new brand name. And so I think that was great. That was great to see.
I'm going to go with Jordan here because that camera that you're citing there, Chris, the whole reason was because it's a new company, but that was very clearly already in development under Olympus, and they just put OM on it. So,
but it was a great camera. Yeah, still is a great camera.
I think that the original EM5 makes a stronger argument.
Fine. But that brings me to their greatest shame.
Yeah.
Which is exactly that same idea, which is, okay. This was a tough one because for me, their greatest shame might have been just naming the company OM System. What is... stupid name.
The company is actually OM Digital Solutions. The camera line is OM System.
Great. It's a dumb brand name for the camera line.
They should have gone with Zuiko.
I know, we talked about this. Should have gone with Zuiko. Or I don't know what. Anyways, their greatest shame has been this sort of concept of just reusing the same technology, releasing cameras with new skins, but it's the same technology, and everybody knows it, and they know it, and they can't escape it. That's why I like the OM1. The OM1 was kind of like, this is a new camera design with some improvements, and now everything else has just been a rehash of existing cameras, and we're seeing these new versions come out. I mean, the OM3 is a beautiful camera. The OM3 is a beautiful camera, but the dirty secret is
give me a model.
They're just using old sensors, old technology, old systems, and just trying to rehash it with a few firmware updates, and that's not going to fly anymore. I'm very hopeful that going forward that will not fly anymore. We're at the cusp. This is it. This is the ledge for OM System.
I want you to give me a model number. I think it's the OM52 was the smallest upgrade.
Well, we're not going by model numbers, though. Sure, the OM52. Sure.
I think this was just an incredibly minor update. It was like a USB-C port, the new sand finish, and the stabilization was a teeny bit better.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about, just the smallest possible upgrades to keep.
That's what you're going with, Jordan?
I'm going to 152.
Yeah.
I'm surprised neither of you thought that the 150 to 600 5 to 6.3 is not shameful. That's a Sigma lens made for full frame cameras that they just slapped on, not even APS-C, which would have already been shameful, but micro four thirds.
You're really using the sharpest part of that lens, though, Jared.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Just think of the giant image circle being projected all along the walls of that box, the mirror, the sensor box. Beautiful. Oh, man.
All right. For those, I am going to go with Jordan on that. So Jordan, who was trailing 5-2, has roared back to tie it 5-5.
Wow. Good for me.
Leica, greatest accomplishment.
But we already agree on the OM 5.2. That was a tie.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, well, I mean, this is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. You'd be crazy not to choose the Leica UR, the original prototype where Oscar Barnick was.
Is it
like,
UR? I've always pronounced it Leica.
UR. It's UR. It's a German word, UR, but I'm going to say UR. This is the camera where Oscar Barnick's like, we're going to take Kino film, 35 millimeter cinefilm, and we're going to put it into a camera. And it was an amazing proof of concept that revolutionized the entire photograph industry. And yes, I know people out there are like, okay, but they weren't really the first. There were other ideas. Yes, there were. But it's kind of like the Wright brothers. They were the first to get that plane off the ground. You know what I'm saying? And so they get to enjoy that legendary status. Think of just what it did for the photo industry from that point forward, right? Like even still today, we're appreciating and enjoying the legacy of compact cameras. And it was a beautiful design. It was an interesting project. It was a passion project, a love letter to photography. And of course, it bred the legacy that Leica enjoys to this day.
Okay, my counter argument to that is if you said, here, Jordan, go take some pictures with an Leica, I'd be like, that sounds like a real pain in the ass. I don't want to do that. That's going to be a experience. Where, if you pass me an M6, baby, I'm like, look, this is basically, I mean, yeah, there's the M7 out there, which was just like a very minor upgrade. But the M6 is the one with all the cachet that everybody wants, a camera so popular that 20 years later, they're like, we're just rebuilding this thing with new parts. This is such a legendary camera. It is the pinnacle of the Leica M for film. And for that reason, I think it is their greatest pride.
Great camera, but it did not bring cachet. It borrowed cachet from the M4. It's basically an M4 with the light meter. So I feel like that was already established.
And great.
You know, I mean, I love the M6, but it's not revolutionary.
Cherry berry?
Chris is right.
You can't not go. I mean, you can't. They started the 35 millimeter film camera trend.
They did.
It's incredible.
That is a humongous accomplishment that we're still riding to this day.
Yeah.
Let's say deepest shame.
I bet we're going to match on this.
Yeah, and
Should we do a 3-2-1?
Yeah, let's do a 3-2-1. And honestly, I hate this answer.
3, 2, 1.
Leica
M8.
M5. Oh. M8.
No.
Leica M5. Leica
Chris?
M5.
Why?
And I hate this answer because the Leica M5 is actually kind of a neat camera, but it's absolutely been a shameful failure for Leica. So the Leica M5, the M4 was such a beautiful camera, so beautiful, in fact, that when they made the M6, they're like, let's go back to that design. Yeah. It's gorgeous. The M5, Leica decided to go on a completely different tangent. They changed the design. They changed the look of the rangefinder box. And it's actually a really nice camera to operate. It's got a light meter in it. That was a huge change. It did it first before the M6. But it was such a radical departure in design, everybody hated it. It was weird looking, strange. I don't love the way it looks. I think I would use it in a fun way because it's kind of ugly, but it was a huge failure for Leica and it really spanked them and they were like, we're never going to do that again. That was a mistake. As good a camera as it was,
it's got RoboCop vibes.
Yeah.
It looks very weird.
It does. And as good a camera as is, as functional as it is, anybody who looks at it's like, it just doesn't feel like a Leica. It's gross. I don't want to touch it. And so, Yeah, that was a huge misstep for them.
But if people grabbed an M5, they wouldn't be disappointed with the results, unlike the Leica M8, which, first of all, you talked about how important the full frame 35mm is. This is the only M series to deviate from that. It was a 1.3 crop factor. More importantly than that is that the color filter array was screwed up, so you would have to buy new filters, UV IRs, tuned specifically for the deficiencies of this sensor.
Yeah, that's
Otherwise,
cool.
you would get really messed up color. And these were Leica filters, so you're paying like $500 to $600 just to make the camera somewhat function. On top of that, the sensor would degrade very quickly over time, and they weren't able to replace it because it was a weird sensor size format from a bizarre fabricator. This camera was just a debacle, and then fortunately they righted the ship with the M9. But this, we talk about the key mission.
But
this was Leica at its absolute low point before they started to rebound with the M8.
I disagree because yes, they wanted to go with boutique sensor manufacturers. It was really strange and it had some weird things. Arguing that it's impractical from a cost standpoint, that's the whole point. That's Leica's business, is to be impractical from a cost standpoint. So I don't think that's a good argument. As weird as the M8 was, they sold tons of them. Like, they did very well with it because people wanted this digital Leica experience.
Jared, I want a number check.
So I think it's a successful camera.
M8 v M9.
No, of course the M9's way better, but the M8, it was not a sales failure is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, as bad as it was not a sales failure.
Actually, it didn't sell that well.
It sold pretty good.
It sold between 10 and 20,000 units, while the one that you suggested, Chris, sold around 34,000 units, the M5. So,
yeah,
Leicas
don't sell a lot.
I think Jordan's
You think the M8's worse than the M5? I think our viewers are going to disagree on that one.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear it.
You're judging.
I'm happy to hear it.
Engagement. Keep going.
All right, you guys are tied again. Hasselblad. We're closing in on the end here. 3 more.
Okay.
Greatest accomplishment for Hasselblad.
It's easy. They went to the moon. 1969. They made a data camera. It was the Hasselblad data camera, the specialized HD data camera they call. I can't remember the exact name. But this is the one that NASA commissioned. They built it, purpose-built for this. It went to the moon. It captured some of those iconic photos in history. There's no other way around it. I don't know what else you would say.
I think it is actually the 500C, which originated the box style, strap a bunch of stuff to a empty box mentality that existed until very recently in the Hasselblad line. This was the start of what they basically followed through on for the next 50 years.
But the 500C was trash.
I think if we're going to give the Leica a pass for its inspiring...
Here's the thing, though. Hasselblad did not invent the 500C. The Nazis did. It's a Luftwaffe... It's a Luftwaffe camera, that you stuck in an airplane, and both the Russians and Hasselblad basically stole this design and made their own versions of it.
No, Chris is right.
Yeah, you went to the moon. You can't argue. Yeah, you can't.
But what is their deepest shame?
Here we go.
Also
3,
easy.
2, 1.
The lunar stellar debacle.
Yeah.
This whole thing of this whole partnership with Sony in general. I forgot that they also made
an A700.
It was they made an A92 DSLR. It was like the HW or something like that. Awful. And it's hideous.
Yeah, but they'd basically bedazzle Sony cameras and sell them for like 3 to 4 times.
What was the name of the? What was you saying? I'm going to look it up.
Well, the Lunar's the worst. The Lunar's
the Lunar and Stellar. We all know those. What was the one the other one you mentioned?
HV, the Hasselblad HV. This was actually a Sony A92 DSLR. I think it was like over $11,000 to buy one.
It wasn't an A92.
Came with a Carl Zeiss 24-70. It was awful.
Yeah, I know it was based on a DSLR design, not a...
Yeah.
Because the 9 would be a mirrorless. So
no,
A99.
A99.
So
A99 too.
The HVA, $11,500 A99 rebadge. Wow.
And it's hideous. It's ugly. Like the Stellar's the only nice one, but like whoever designed these never should make a camera ever again.
Oh my gosh, it's so ugly.
It's so ugly.
I forgot about this camera. Now it's like roaring back. The shutter button on this, heinous.
It's just whoever thought that this was going to be a good move.
Well, it did cost someone his job. The CEO of Hasselblad at the time didn't last much longer after
I don't blame them. Yeah.
Terrible series of choices. This actually turned Hasselblad's brand into a laughingstock. It was a joke.
They had to
What
get
a
bought
terrible
by
series.
DJI to restore some cachet.
You guys are right. There is absolutely no other answer. It is definitely this period of Hasselblad. We'll go with the Stellar or Lunar. It doesn't matter which one.
Yeah.
This is also terrible. The HV. God, what horrible cameras.
That whole mindset was awful. Yeah.
Sigma's greatest accomplishment.
I don't like their cameras, so this was a struggle.
It can
for
be
me.
cameras or lenses. It can be cameras or lenses.
Yeah,
It was always
I just did cameras for mine.
Yeah,
so.
you like cameras. We were stretching beyond that. I think Sigma's greatest accomplishment as a brand is that they've kept their brand as a family company over this entire process, and that they've kept all of their camera and lens production in Japan within Tohoku region or Aizu, Japan. And I think that's like a really amazing accomplishment.
Can I have a product?
No, that is all their products. The fact that all their products are made in Japan, and that they are still a family company to this day, not selling it, not parting it off, not being owned by another subsidiary, I think is a beautiful accomplishment.
It's a 35 mil art original.
No.
Is the
Correct answer, Jordan.
That's the lamest answer.
Correct answer. What's their deepest shame?
Their entire camera division. No, seriously.
No, there's a worse camera. It's right on the
It's
tip.
it's the SD11.
It's the FPL.
Yeah. What?
It's the FPL.
No. It's the SD11. They're one of their first digital SLRs.
SD1?
Yeah, but that had a shutter.
SD1?
SD1, yeah, but it said fast slow. The shutter said fast slow. That's awful. That's the dumbest idea I've ever seen in my entire life. Awful. Their whole camera division. I mean, the Quattros have some fun cachet, even though they're awful to hold. The DPs are adorable. To me, the FP is just another in that line. But yeah, their DSLR.
How much was the SD1 when it debuted? What was the intro price in US dollars?
Pricey, I seem to
Brutally
recall.
expensive.
I'm going to say 2,800 USD.
Chris?
Oh, how much was it?
Yeah, what do you think it
At
was?
launch?
Oh, like $6,000?
I think it's below that.
No, it is below that.
$9,800.
Whoa.
What?
Yeah.
They
That's
re-released
Cocoa
it
Bananas.
later, dramatically cutting the price to $3,300, and then eventually it was like $2,300.
Yeah,
but
it
the
was
launch
stupid.
price was $9,800. This camera is that's shameful. It's
So,
did you
SD1.
say
But
that?
the
Is this yours,
FPL
Chris?
didn't even have
Yeah,
the
SD, yeah.
FPL. It has the 60 megapixel sensor with no mechanical shutter on it, and we were like, "Oh, the A7R5, it does have
No, it's a
an
dumb
electronic
camera.
shutter, but it's completely useless." And then they built an entire camera around it, and then they're like, "Oh, I guess maybe it's a cinema camera, but that sensor is a terrible sensor for video."
But it's a great sensor for photo. I mean, look, nobody hates that camera more than I do. I will never shoot a test chart with it ever again. But the image quality is good, and people like the small size. I still think it's a terrible camera, absolutely. But the SD1 was atrocious.
I think the SD1's worse.
And most importantly, it started a trend from Sigma to make awful cameras.
I don't think I can win now.
Just awful cameras.
You can win, Jordan. You can win by naming both Rico Pentax's greatest and deepest shames, or
okay.
greatest
Well, we're
accomplishment.
gonna match for deepest shames.
We are going
So-
to match for deepest shape.
So you can end up tying, Jordan. What is their
Okay.
greatest accomplishment, Rico
It's
Pentax?
the K1000.
It is the K1000.
Yeah,
I agree,
this is
too.
the camera that so many people learn photography on. It's still so desired. Like, it basically got all of the absolute essential fundamentals correct and offered no bells and whistles outside of that.
Yeah.
And it's the camera that's responsible for Pentax as like the, it's a budget-conscious brand for people who really care about reliability and performance for price. And it all started with this camera.
It's actually not a very good camera. Like the K1000 is kind of stupid. It's ugly. It's bulky.
It's fine.
It looks like
I think it's great, so I win this round.
It follows Russian tank doctrine. But
I think it looks fine.
it was It was the everyman's camera, right? It was the common man's camera, the people's camera. And so we agree, K1000. I mean, it was super influential. So many students learned on that camera. The LX is a way nicer camera, super sexy. The ME Super, way better camera.
Yeah.
But K1000, yeah, we both agree.
If they were to build a monument to Pentax, it would be in the shape of a K1000.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's their deepest shame?
It's the K01.
K01. Absolutely awful camera. Just everything awful, hideous, gross.
I think they should take away one of Mark Newsom's mansions just for that camera design.
Yeah. Man. But
All right.
We've gone at length on how bad that camera is. We can't go any more on it, but yeah.
So Chris wins.
So I'm going to make you guys do one more just off the top of your head. What is Zeiss's deepest shame?
Or greatest accomplishment?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that includes the brand that they own, which is Contax.
I'm going to go deepest shame with the new Otis series, which are not dramatically optically better.
Jordan, no, but that's the point.
That aren't dramatically optically better than their autofocusing mirrorless counterparts. That's shame.
I don't want to do Zeiss. Why are you throwing this out?
I mean, Zeiss. The answer is the super speeds. Like the look of movies was basically defined by this one set of lenses that every cinematographer used for 35 years. You like a movie? It was probably shot, at least in part, especially the indoors, on Zeiss super speeds. They're gorgeous lenses that just still to this day are constantly out in rental houses because they have a look that everyone loves.
Yeah, that's a good answer. I mean, it's the Contax G series for me. I mean, they're beautiful, but they made so many beautiful cameras. But the G series were really like, they were like a serious alternative to using a rangefinder from Leica, giving you autofocus, giving you beautiful lenses. They're gorgeous cameras, well designed. Everything that sort of brand represent, sharpness, clarity, functionality, beautiful design.
Why did you open that Coke? The wasps are back.
I know the wasps are bad. They're fine. I'm not bothered by wasps. But their deepest shame?
Maybe it's the Sony Zeiss 3514. No, I'm going to stick with my original answer of the new Otises.
Really, I just wanted to give Jordan a chance to tie.
No, why? No, I won. We're set on that.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate it. I heard a lot of things that I liked.
It was very good battle. Very close.
I want to hear from the audience, though. What do they think? What did Chris and Jordan get wrong here? And then who did I agree with that I shouldn't have? Because we're running short on time here, we're going to skip what have you been up to because, it's obvious what they've been up to.
We're camping.
They're camping, and I'm sitting in my office.
We're getting stung by wasps, and we're playing in the lake.
I'm going to read one comment. It's from Brian. Hey, PetaPixel crew. So far, I've really enjoyed the I wish someone would make this camera series, referring to my panoramic X100 and your Rolleiflex twin lens reflex digital that you wanted, Chris. Keep it going. Get the other contributors to do them too. I know some of the comments are like, duh, that's a dumb idea, but I say, no, you are dumb to them. In an ideal world, what super cool niche camera would Sarah, Jordan, Matt, Dima, Jeremy want? I think the reasons that you all went on that specific camera that you chose is super interesting and/or put it on the podcast. Thanks for all the cool stuff that you do, PetaPixel member Brian. So thank you for the supportive message, Brian.
Appreciate that.
We really appreciate it. We will do more tech support next week for sure because we have a bunch we need to get through. But we are running out of time, and it is you guys are being swarmed by wasps. So we're gonna go with the feel-good story of the week, which is this is truly the way that Christopher Nolan intended the Odyssey to be seen. What if you were to take those frames, print them onto Japanese konbini receipts, and rescan them? Well, then you would have true art. This was done by Kella Zero on Instagram, and it's awesome.
See, the thing I find frustrating about Nolan is someone has to have asked him about like this mountain of glorious memes of people watching his movies on the wrong formats.
Yeah.
And he's never commented on it. And I really want him to say like,
love it.
I just sit up in my bed at night and I look at them, not on my phone because I don't have a phone. I pull out a laptop and I giggle. I want to hear that. I want to know that this is finding its way back to him.
Like here in Salmon Arm, there's a movie theater. It's a cool movie theater, but it's not like...
It's a hole in the wall.
It's not going to have, high quality format. And I'm like, it's playing the Odyssey, and Jordan hasn't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet. I'm like, we should go see it at the Salmon Arm Theater, but I know it'll drive you crazy.
Oh, it'll drive me.
You'd sit there the whole time being like, this is not the right.
It's probably like a 2K projection on a burned out screen.
Yuck. Yeah, and it'd drive you crazy, and I'd love it because I don't care. I'd watch it on a VCR. I don't care.
Yeah, Chris will watch the Odyssey like he'll drink black coffee from anywhere. It doesn't matter.
The disconnect between you reviewing cameras and not caring about the quality of video is so baffling to me.
Yeah.
Even that seagull thinks it's funny. All right, guys, thanks for joining us from the beach. We'll have you back next week for a normal episode, but for now, enjoy your week by the side of the beach there. And,
episodes to come with water in them.
Bye.
Yeah, appreciate it, everyone. We're back on our regular podcast schedule, so we'll see you next week. Next week's podcast will actually be one day later than usual. You'll understand why when it happens. Until then, there's one thing that is worth looking forward to, and that Chris will tell you his thoughts on the Godox C100 camera by the end of the week. I can't wait for you guys to hear what I've been hearing.
The second best C100 camera.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you later. See you in the next one.
Bye.